Signore e signori, buongiorno e benvenuti.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
Isola? Vicino? Distante? Ancora? Va bene? Sì, perfetto. Allora, faccio l'apertura insieme.
I open the session and I have wonderful panel, two significant figures in the technical scientific world, Professor Abate and for representatives of the ophthalmic world. Today we speak about progressive lenses. It's a preview of the conference that will be held on June 30th, July 1st in Florence. A conference where I will facilitate the proceedings together with two other technicians, Professor Abate specifically, and it's some sort of business forum. It's a fundamental venue where we speak on how to generate value and how to grow the market of progressive lenses. And that's the first starting point. The conference is under the auspices of ANFAO, Federotica, and a set of entities that are quite active in the field to create an added value about this theme that is fundamental to the retail field. My role today is to open and to end this short 1 hour conference. We shall try and give the floor to each speaker. I was asked to explain just in 10 minutes what cannot be explained, how to enhance the selling of progressive lenses. So I have with me a video. It's a short video, very brief, and I'd like to explain the paradox of how to make the progressive lens world grow, but we should speak about market, that is to say the over 30 market, and over 30 years of age, something changes in terms of vision, and clients that came to you or clients that didn't come to you, you find them and it's not the same person, and however we treat the client in the same identical way. Please play the video, because with the video they have a problem in playing the video. When you have solved the problem, tell me please. So, considering the over 40 segment of the population, we think about the needs of public that is changing, not just because of vision-related problems, but also because of their work-related requirements. And so we should shift the attention from the product to the segment. That is to say, as we say in our specialized terminology, we should consider customers' requirements, and people over 40 years of age are new subjects. I hope that they can now play the video. Yes, we're almost there. You are remaking the video in practice. Yes, we can play it.
Sintesi sì, si annacqua. Il ciclo di webinar d'autore, dedicati al mondo e al mercato della presbiopia e quindi alla lente progressiva, si pongono 3 obiettivi ambiziosi e una sintesi economica perfetta. Il primo obiettivo è quello di convincervi che il mondo degli over 40 è un mercato a sé stante e che necessita di un approccio, prodotti, servizi e soluzioni, del tutto diversi rispetto a quelli che non hanno ancora 40 anni e non sono presbiti incipienti. La popolazione invecchia e ha bisogno di noi più di prima. In secondo luogo, dobbiamo tutti lavorare sullo spread della presbiopia, quel 10% che ci separa dalla media tedesca di persone, ovvero sia il 30% della popolazione germanica che indossa occhiali progressivi. Ma lo spread non è solo percentuale, ma si basa anche sul tempo. In Italia la prima dotazione di occhiale progressivo è a 54 anni, con un'addizione 2. Dobbiamo anticipare almeno di 5 anni questa prima dotazione, riducendo l'addizione e quindi il rischio dei drop-out. Infine, terzo e ultimo obiettivo, convincerci che stiamo perdendo e quindi dobbiamo recuperare l'infanzia della presbiopia del nostro pubblico, ovvero sia quella fascia tra i 40 e i 45 anni dove inizia a crearsi la presbiopia incipiente. Quel pubblico normalmente si rivolge a soggetti non ottici, esercita l'automedicazione, ovvero sia l'uso dei premontati, e di fatto lo perdiamo fino ai famosi 54 anni dove dobbiamo applicargli un occhiale progressivo complesso e molto probabilmente difficile da sostenere. Per questo motivo dobbiamo educarli al momento giusto per instradarli con la massima semplicità al mondo progressivo. Questi saranno i temi e gli obiettivi dei 3 webinar d'autore che ho chiamato Presbiopia a 30 lode, con l'auspicio di permettere a molti di voi di iniziare un percorso di eccellenza che vi porti a raggiungere il 30% degli utilizzatori di occhiali progressivi, anticipando la prima dotazione almeno ai 50 anni e iniziandoli verso i 40 attraverso monofocali ad alto valore aggiunto. Una sintesi perfetta che, abbinata a un business plan di impresa destinato esclusivamente agli over 40, potrebbe in meno di 3 anni capovolgere gli scenari grigi di questi ultimi 10. Il ciclo dei 3 webinar d'autore, Presbiopia a 30 lode, inizieranno immediatamente dopo il Mido 2019. Questo ciclo di 3 webinar verrà affiancato da un gruppo Facebook chiuso dove potrete ricevere gli aggiornamenti post webinar, confrontarvi con i vostri colleghi e partecipare o meno attivamente al dialogo. Alla fine del webinar il sottoscritto inizierà un percorso di sales coaching con chi lo desidererà al fine di mettere in pratica un vero e proprio piano per il mercato over 40 e poter raggiungere in tempi brevi quelli che erano i primi 3 obiettivi di questi webinar, ovvero sia realizzare un 30% di penetrazione delle lenti progressive nel proprio carnet, anticipare l'età del progressivo per il vostro cliente e quella che è l'infanzia della presbiopia. Per poter ricevere un programma più dettagliato di webinar e del sales coaching vi prego di scrivere a nicola@nicoladivernia.it. Vi ringrazio dell'attenzione, vi auguro buon lavoro e buon webinar sales coaching a tutti.
The recipe is simple. It's not well, bridging the gap in terms of time and quantity, it's not so easy. So our objective and the objective of the partners at this conference is to, well, involve everybody at an emotional level, but also at a pragmatic level. And today, reaching certain objectives is not so easy, and we shouldn't take it for granted that consumers and clients may follow us in whatever we do and whatever we propose. I'd like to give the floor to the professor that shall explain some technical concepts about progressive lenses.
Bene, buongiorno.
Professor Reverdi, good afternoon. I hope you hear me. I prefer to stand up.
Allora, il mio intervento... Non ce n'è uno di quelli, no.
Adesso te lo porto.
Grazie, vabbè. Dicevo, il mio intervento è un po'...
Like I said, my contribution goes beyond the limited area of progressive lenses.
Infatti, vedete dal
As you can see from the title,
titolo che parliamo di lenti multifocali.
we speak about multifocal lenses.
Qui vicino non c'era. Ok. Dicevo, al di là del mondo.
So, apart from the world of progressive lenses, we speak about multifocal lenses. It's a 360-degree speech focused on people over 40 years of age. We were asked to find motivations whereby this spread minus 10% involves the Italian optical world, and I thought about 3-4 themes that can be useful. First of all, the culture of the optical world. Unfortunately, we live in an optical world where culture is quite poor, and it's difficult to have training and compulsory professional development, and it's so difficult to enhance continuous professional development, and companies are also responsible for this, and because professional development is being combined with promotional aspects and so on and so forth, and identifying the motivations why we're lagging behind are manifold, and this reflection might be made to identify strategies to pursue. Yes. And in the wake of what we just said, from my perspective, it's difficult to prescribe and sell what you don't know so well. If the world of multifocal lenses is not so well known, it's a first big explanation why we're lagging behind compared to other nations. And today we should provide an ideal solution for every requirement. We shouldn't standardize products and give everybody same things, but we should provide the right product to the specific customer, especially in this moment in which the number of clients increases over 40 and over 50 years of age. Today, we are in a world where customization is more and more present. If you attended yesterday Chamir's conference, there are different progressive lenses based on addiction. More and more customization in the case of progressive multifocal lenses, and so we should know products well and widen their use. Little standardization, but each client should receive the lens that they need. As you know, the big evolution of the past few years that allowed to, in a way, create diversification in the world of multifocal lenses is the free-form technology. We can create surfaces as we want, and obviously this helped a lot to diversify products and create something that some years ago was inconceivable. I keep on going back and forth here. What does the market offer today for different types of lenses? Classic progressive lenses, indoor office lenses, so-called accommodative support lenses, and power digression lenses. Let's take a close look at what we can find in this world. First of all, standard progressive lenses that occupy a big percentage of the market, and there was a shift from external to internal progression. Almost all progressive lenses have internal progression, and the best ones have integrated progression in the front and in the back, and you have differentiated astigmatismus lenses, one near, one distance, lenses for high anisometropias, and we have a wide range of lenses. Then we should give each client the lens he or she needs. and so you need to know the products. Free-form processing, you should know it well. And if I work free-form, progressive surface is something. If I work a non-progressive surface, it's different. Obviously, it's two different, completely different things. And you should know what the lens offers. And the big chapter is represented by personalized lenses that you all know. And based on frame parameters, centering, height, use, distance of use, lifestyle, and then personalized geometry lenses. With the use of freeform, I can create various vision areas as I wish through a project that I, as an optician, can create complex situations requiring the presence of a professional that knows how to act in this world. And the so-called personalized lens is a high-profile lens, and we can prescribe it for our clients when parameters are out of standard, because all lenses have standard parameters of construction. When we have high prescriptions, when you have high addictions, for example, when you use various progressive glasses, when the frame is difficult and when it's difficult to change the frame, when somebody is not satisfied of the previous standard progressive lenses, when you have demanding clients, and you should use your experience and find a way to offer the best product to a demanding customer. Just as an example, I'd like to show you two figures to show you that actually personalized progressive lenses have their own use. On the top part, a pantoscopic angle has been modified. We took a high pantoscopic level angle in the non-personalized area. You see what the result is, and instead, in the case of the personalized lens, we have wide values instead. Another very brief example is represented by the use of personalized lenses when you have to do with high cylinders. This is a prescription with cylinder 4. If the lens is personalized, its functional areas are kept wide. If it's a standard area, functional areas get closed. Because in such prescriptions, you lose a lot in terms of visual quality of our surface. And today, we are in the world of the digital era. A lot of attention is devoted to a world evolving in a limited space, 40, 50, 60 centimeters, and so the lens should be structured in a different way than classic lenses for open spaces. Today, we have lenses to drive when you try and widen certain spaces, lenses for sports, and as you may understand, you should try and give more comfortable lenses depending on the context, and the more the lens is in line with the requirements of the individual client, and the best the results. Let's now get to accommodative support lenses. As you know, they can be used at a distance, addiction near. You have various styles and types. At the beginning it was low addiction, 0.5, and today 1.5 diopters. It's almost progressive lenses, even if geometry is different, and they are asymmetrical. They can be personalized in terms of assembly and use. And as you know, such lenses help accommodation, reducing visual stress. And such lenses, if we learn to use them for 40, 50-year-old patients, we have paved the way toward the world of progressive lenses.
So who should wear these accommodative support lenses? Well, we have a very wide range of users. The idea would be to provide these lenses to all the 40 to 50-year-old presbyotic users, or those who do not have a lot of money to spend, and then we have issues with accommodation and convergence. But this is a use for younger wearers. A suggestion that I may give to you is that, well, we should start replacing part of the lenses that are usually used for the far side, so 40 to 50 years of age users with accommodative support lenses. This would help the use of progressive lenses in the years ahead, and this could also allow to use multifocal lenses. Another category of lenses are the power digression lenses. Again, we are still in the field of progressive lenses. Previously, we saw other types of lenses, and now we have lenses for the near vision, but there are different models of digression based on the type of use, static use for reading, dynamic use in the office. They can also have digressions based on the addition. You may open any price list of any company and you will find a full range of products like this. As you can see, in a range of 12, 13, 14 millimeters, well, the power digresses from the near to the far vision, and for this reason, these lenses can also be used in front of a computer or similar situations. Well, these lenses are for those who read and who use the computer, who do not use the intermediate field very often. Well, in this case, the near lenses should and can be replaced with these digression lenses. This could be a good bridge to the progressive lenses. It would be a plus for presbyotic patients. And in this case, we should avoid the massive use of pre-mounted glasses because this is a lens that provides some pluses. In conclusion, just a couple of words for office lenses. They were initially developed because the office world, the desk, has a different configuration than the outdoor space. Progressive lenses conceived for the outdoor use, especially with a high addition, can create problems if used indoors in a computer. They have a much longer canal, which is not used for the far vision, unless just to have a quick look. And there are different models, well, those are focused on reading, those focused on the desk space, those focused on the room space, etc. And these lenses too can be very good to solve that problem. They can be customized. Again, you always have to consider how they are used, if the place where they are used complies with the norms. It is for those requiring a high performance. Well, they have a specific field of application, and they're not easy to be sold because once you invest a lot of money in progressive lenses, you think they can be used everywhere, but you also have to get used to using this type of lenses as well. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'd like to thank Hoya Rodenstock & Zeiss for providing me the necessary material in order to be up to date and to prepare this presentation. Thank you, Professor Reverdy. Well, I think this is a great example showing that we should not just focus on progressive lenses, but focus on a 40 years of age market with specific needs. Eyewear is per se a science, but it is up to the optician to make it an art. And it's not just a technical art, but also a managerial art. So very quickly, and then I will hand over to Professor Abati, I'd like to introduce the speakers who represent the companies that are, by the way, the main sponsors of the conference on progressive lenses in Florence. Matilde Ronzoni, a product specialist, Hoya, Italy, and then in alphabetical order, Fabio Briganti, product manager, Zeiss, Mauro Nocera, product manager, Rodenstock, and Luca Strigiotti, head of professional and trade marketing, Essilor. So I've just followed the alphabetical order of the names, not of the companies. And now the floor to Silvano Abati, who will make a quick round of the table, because we are the main experts here in the ophthalmics and optics sector in Italy. And so let's open this round table with Professor Abati, with Mr. Abati moderating the round table. Well, to counterbalance, I will follow Essilor, Hoya, Rodenstock and Zeiss. Will follow the alphabetical order of the companies. Well, it would be much better for me to focus on technical aspects, but I was asked to moderate this round table, and so thank you very much. Dilernia first, because you really focused on the main pillar of progressive lenses. We have few progressive lenses, and this is a problem. We sell the first progressive lens when the addition is too high, and this would mean not being able to retain customers, not being able to have him grow and to have him grow his progression over time, his addition over time, so he cannot exploit this lens fully. Reverdy said, well, there are many lenses available actually, because the only thing that we cannot say about our market is that companies have not developed and are not offering to us as opticians a wide range of lenses solving really all the problems, because they did. So why can't this market progress then? This is a question to the companies. Eye doctors may be against progressive lenses, or companies are too expensive. Opticians are not properly prepared. Well, I don't think we should focus on who is to blame, but rather find a way to increase our sales and our customers' satisfaction. Let's start with Essilor or Strigiotti. So let me start in alphabetical order with Essilor. Why? In a population that accounts for about 42 or 45% of the Italian population with presbyopia. So why, with such a high number of people, are we selling so few progressive lenses? Well, first of all, thank you very much. Sabrina Lotto should have been here instead of me, but she's ill, and so I'm replacing her. Well, by the way, I'd like to start with an idea that I didn't see in the previous presentations. That is the evolution of lifestyles. Because in reality, we have this object in our hands on a daily basis throughout our life. And so it becomes paramount. And Essilor has been pursuing two different options, parallel options. On the one hand, we have multifocal lenses with an accommodation principle, and accommodation lenses can support optical centers to progressively move from an intelligent progressive lens to a really progressive lens. But we also have in our range of product the progressive lenses, the young progressive lenses that allow to start with low diopters. If I look at European figures or global figures too, I can see that in Italy, Essilor is focused on the 1.5 diopters or 2 diopters, but I must realize that the penetration of progressive lenses is very low. The industry has a great offering, that's true, but those who prescribe the lenses are sometimes afraid of not being able to adapt to the lens. In order to simplify the access to progressive lenses, you should therefore start from a lower addition. If you start with a 2.5, you can have an adaptation time. Well, why? You asked why. I think, well, it depends on the willingness to offer progressive lenses, because I don't think we are missing instruments, because Essilor is offering in Italy what it is offering abroad. If other markets have a high penetration rate of progressive lenses with a low addition, this means that well, opticians there are simply offering progressive lenses more frequently. Progressive lenses are not for the elderly. Progressive lenses are lenses that improve the life of the wearer. In a lifestyle which is characterized by great changes and closer proximities, well, the fact of compromising the vision, because you may have reading glasses that you take on and off without any progression, so these glasses do not allow to be worn for a long period of time throughout the day. Well, in this sense, in this case, we deprive the final user of a fundamental benefit, that is improving his or her own life. So I think we should move towards a better willingness to offer progressive lenses, confident enough that the industry has made a huge progress in the field of quality. I think this is the most important solution we should implement. Okay, so the answer, which to me is a positive one. So you said on average you start with 1.5, but according to the figures and the facts and figures that I have, well, we start with 52, 53 years of age. And so if you start earlier, you have to lower the addition by at least half. So 2, if we start with a 2 of addition, well, I can reduce afterwards the addition from 2.50 to 2.25. So if you do not offer progressive lenses at an earlier stage, we do not allow our wearers to adapt to the lens more frequently. And when wearers do no longer need progressive lenses because they retire, for example, they may not use progressive lenses any longer. So my question to Hoya is, what is Hoya doing to try and sometimes involve opticians so that they can use progressive lenses? I'm not saying addition 1 because it would be unfeasible considering the difficulties mentioned, but at least 1.25 or maximum 1.50. Well, first of all, good evening to you all, and thank you for the question. As a company, Hoya focuses a lot on training the opticians, and this is certainly one of the key elements in order to understand from an optical viewpoint what it implies prescribing a progressive lens. Progressive lenses are certainly more complicated compared to a multifocal lens. And so a late prescription, as it is usually the case in Italy, and by the way, I fully agree with what was said, well, depends on the fact that in Italy the situation is different from other countries. In other countries, we have this, we do not have this problem, such a severe problem. In Italy, instead, progressive lenses are usually prescribed at a a very late stage. If we look at the stats that Hoya has, we see that well, usually we tend to focus on the end-of-scale values for addition. Therefore, the company is working a lot on training and education so that opticians can realize the fact that by prescribing progressive lenses late, the wearers may have more difficulties in adapting to them. Well, with a possible solution in this case, and this is much debated, would be the use of accommodative support lenses. Well, this is a lens that provides great results, especially for early presbyopic patients, especially for qualitative reasons, but also for the fact that you no longer talk about progressive lenses, but of accommodative support lenses, which is a concept that is perceived differently by the final wearer. There is a psychological obstacle that can be hardly overcome, and with accommodative support lenses, you can certainly and effectively solve that issue so that wearers can reach higher addition values in a very simple way, thus favoring adaptation and thus overcoming that psychological barrier. We've noticed that this solution is widely accepted and is leading to interesting results. Good. I have a question now for my friend Nocera for Rodenstock Italia. But what about the medical industry? Are doctors doing anything to improve the penetration of progressive lenses? We are working in this direction too. The information and training of doctors is very important. Unfortunately, sometimes prescriptions are still based on some technical concepts that are obsolete. Nowadays, luckily enough, the progress of technologies requires a different approach. It's not the progressive lens that requires something different in terms of ophthalmic prescription. You simply need to perform a very good examination from the far to the infinite, so you should not stop when examining a patient by doing the exam simply in a room. Well, in some offices, that room is maximum 4 meters, but at least you should have 6 meters. The near exam should also be properly performed, and this doesn't mean that this examination has to be standardized. Exams are usually performed at 33 centimeters that nowadays are no longer enough vis-à-vis the new functional needs. Sometimes there are even some doubts. Do I have to prescribe the cylinder or without a cylinder? What kind of cylinder should I use in the glasses? And as you know, well, if you work in the optometric world, you know that you have to work in with negative cylinders for hyperopia and positive cylinders for myopia. So progressive lenses, cylinder should be prescribed even for 0.25 or 0.50 diopters. The spheric equivalent, which is usually prescribed, doesn't work very well with progressive lenses. And then it often happens that progressive lens wearers with a spheric equivalent, well, they have to compensate for astigmatism. But on the other hand, a wearer may think that a mistake was made, but it may be due to the fact that no cylinder was prescribed or that the cylinder axis was wrong. And then refractive balance is also important. Even if we have an isometropic monocular correction, it is important to perform a refractive balancing, especially because we perform an exam with 0.25 diopter steps. So if a wearer is saying that he can see very well at -1, well, maybe it is 1.13 or -1, or instead of -1, it's 0.88. But you see that between 0.28 and 1.25, there's a huge difference. Refractive balance control means controlling the binocular performance through specific tests. When you prescribe that way, progressive lenses, well, I don't want to deny what was said earlier. Well, with an addition equal to 2, a wearer can see very well without having any adaptation problem. Of course, if we start at an earlier stage, we are all more than happy, and this applies to us as a company and to the wearer. We all have developed accommodative support multifocal lenses that are preparatory to the use of progressive lenses. Going back to your question and going back to the issue of eye doctors, we are working in order to convey this information as well, so that we all work the same way, and so that we can also reduce failed adaptations. Because in terms of failed adaptations, I think on average we have about 4 to 5% of the lenses, of progressive lenses, with a failed adaptation. However, we can reduce that percentage to 0 thanks to modern technologies. If an optician or if an optometrist is sufficiently prepared and he knows the products, he listens to the consumer's needs, well, opticians are certainly able to select the right lens, and that lens is certainly going to work if there are good prerequisites in terms of refraction and in terms of centering, the choice of the product, the choice of the addition. So there's much to do in this respect, because skills have to be acquired, and practitioners have to acquire that know-how, and all the companies are working to achieve that through webinars, events, and price lists that have almost become as detailed as encyclopedias. Well, sometimes you should also focus on the technical pages of the price list without focusing on prices only. Thank you very much. So we were talking about failed adaptation. Out of 100 returned lenses due to a failed adaptation, how can you look for the cause? Well, very good question. First of all, thank you and good afternoon. I agree with my colleague. The Italian domestic market has a failed adaptation rate equal to 4 or 5%. According to the source, however, if they are returned by opticians, 60% is due to a wrong refraction and the rest is mounting. If the lenses are returned by doctors, it's exactly the opposite. But usually the main 2 causes of a failed adaptation are wrong mounting and wrong refraction. For ZEISS, training is key too. Training, both when it is when the question is to have the right equipment to center to achieve a good centering. But let me focus on ZEISS offering. Well, we focus on the idea of multi-equipment. In other words, the same final consumer should be provided with multiple products to fulfill the different needs that they may have throughout the day. The market, opticians, instead, tend to offer just one single solution covering multiple needs. In this case, however, even the best compromise may be extremely negative in certain situations. Secondly, communication. The market often speaks to the customer with 2 technical words. and hence they are not able to convey and to explain the benefits of the different product categories at best. And for this reason, these products are not very appealing to the customers. If we talk about inset, lateral aberration, progression canals with a consumer, you may well understand a consumer is not able to invest a lot of money in that product. So for this reason, it is really paramount to convey the real benefits of technologies and of the respective products so that they can better realize why that investment is needed.
That's good. One last round of the table, and please give a perfect summary of your opinion to Professor Abate's question. I'd like to add something on what was said by Briganti. He spoke about wrong assembly, wrong diffraction. Big percentage is represented by the type of lens that is not adequate for the subject. And going back to this point, I'd like to ask Zeiss representative, how come they sell so little personalized lenses, Essilor? This is a question for Essilor. Well, actually, before giving an answer to the question, I'd like to add one element. It's true that there's a theme of personalization of lenses, but I'd like to stress that training and especially the cultural approach when selling progressive lenses is fundamental. Before, I heard about freeform as a technological revolution. Actually, freeform was a revolution, it's unquestionable, but also within freeform, lenses are not alike, and this comes even before personalization. And I say it because if lenses were all the same, we would have a single lens, we would save a lot of money, everything would be more simple. Getting to the theme of personalizations, and we spoke about it with Nicola just outside. Personalizations in Italy, considered the European average, account for 1/3. If progressive lenses are 100, personalized lenses in Europe are 3 times more than in Italy. And here, we should make 2-3 remarks. First of all, we have a range of personalized lenses, and if I should find a synonym for all of them, it is X, Varilux X, and you have a set of personalizations inside. It's by itself a catalog and also lifestyles. This type of lenses and the concept of this personalization is so important, and it is guaranteed by quality of design and semi-finished. 5 years ago, we tried to go beyond and to go out of the box of the balance of progressive lenses through a technology called Lanoptics. This technology allows to disassemble progressive lens into thousands of micro lenses. Personalization of lenses is not just connected to freeform, but the construction of the material itself. A semi-finished product is different, the external base is different, and with bare eye you can see that the lens has a completely different form. This has changed a situation, opening of visual fields, the big compromise of progressive lenses. From this basic technology, we then got to the personalization of lenses. One of the big themes in personalization, it's not enough to calculate a pantoscopic angle or what else. You should get into the detail of the construction of the lens. And last but not least, you cannot go into detail of it in this podium. Last, you have the theme of refraction, because before the colleague spoke about approximation balance 0.25, 0.25. Actually, last year we submitted a new Raptor with a precision called Visionaire that allows to link refractive part to the refraction of the lens. And refraction, even if the lens is well made, doesn't consider wearer power when the lens is physically assembled into a frame. And today, as products are integrated with video centering systems and refraction system, you can have personalization, specific personalization, but this is explicitly connected to the technology of construction of the lens. And it's a great pleasure to be here today. Today we celebrate the 60th anniversary of Varilux, and well, never as this year has an event devoted to progressive lenses is perfectly combined with our history. You should start from the structure of the lens to improve personalization of the lens itself. After 60 years, we expect champagne and not Prosecco, for sure. We ask Hoya representative, as there's a wide range of products from 1 to 10. How do you choose? What's the element that leads you to choose the type of lens? For sure, giving so many choices as a specific rationale, giving a more standardized product than a more evolved product, well, it depends on the person you prescribe a new pair of glasses to. And giving more personalized lenses is important, and there's a reason at the basis of this decision. You shouldn't underestimate the lifestyle of the wearer, and lifestyle is different than many years ago. Having a top-range product taking into account the lifestyle of wearers through ad hoc reconstructions of the lens based on the wearer's requirements. It's just like making a tailor-made shoe when you want to go jogging or when you want to walk, and specific solutions should be provided. So giving top lens instead of a standard lens, it's to cover all visual needs, but also it's connected to the lifestyle and the frame itself and how it is worn. That's good. Nocera. Considering that we have such a wide range of lenses performing at their best, is there something you are preparing additional improvements, or do we have it all? Spaghetti is ready to be eaten, then obviously you boil the water for future years. And in our case, we use a slightly different terminology than the terminology used here. For us, personalized lens is not a lens derived from parameters. For us, we have a design taking into account the optical component of a prescription. If I have a cylinder that is higher than the diopter, and if I have high addiction, if I have diopter above 4, if I have a prescription above 4 diopters, or prismatic prescription lens taking into account such elements gives obvious advantages, and this is what we define a personalized lens. So what we suggest is to start from personalized lens always, and then we go one step further and you get to an individualized lens. And apart from optimization of design and the component of the prescription itself, we also take into account individual parameters, but also posture distance. And an important element today in high-end products, we also consider the lifestyle of people, whereby the design of the lens, the areas at distance and near, may have necessary width depending on the real requirement needs of every user to get to 100% personalization through ad hoc software, and the optician can really draw a progressive lens with obviously support given by the software. With regard to optimizations, high-end products take into account recalculations of the near cylinder. There are geometric, physiological factors, and near prescription, it can be changed by some temps, and we directly consider it in the recalculation together with the recalculation of the power of the lens in position of use. But if in the case of refraction the optician wants to devote 7-8 seconds more for a near refraction with a cylinder control, we can have lenses of different kinds. So we accept orders with different cylinders, near, distance, and different parameters. So, recalculated powers, position of use, and recalculated cylinders for near vision. Some years ago, we started a path to have barometric control lenses through a barometer detecting aberrations, high and low order aberrations that are not usually offset with a common ophthalmic lens, and this information together with subjective refraction gets to our abstraction center, and the lens is recalculated point by point, not eliminating completely aberration because this would create a problem because the eye moves behind the lens, and the eye is at 12 millimeters from the lens, but it reduces problems caused by aberrations, and especially when the pupil is more dilated, night vision. One last element. Today we also speak about biometric lenses. And now instrumentation allows us to determine the anteroposterior length and know exactly where the retina is, know specifically how the eyes that get into the eye converge at the level of the retina, and have a lens where we're sure that the image ends up right there. It means using 100% visual fields and obtaining the best possible vision and best possible details, contrast, and color perception. One last question to Zeiss. I believe that people here have heard about things that seem to be science fiction. Length of the bulb, decomposing the lens into various points, analyzing the lens, binocularity in every area. Well, Zeiss and the various companies, what do they do to inform opticians about this world? You are 4, 5, 6, 7 companies, big companies in Italy, making novelties available, but how can the eye perceive all of such information? Zeiss Academy is a project that was started 8 years ago, and for 8 years we've been organizing residential courses all over Italy and webinars, and usually 1 week on the various product categories, and meeting opticians is fundamental because we get into details and problems connected to progressive lenses, occupational lenses, and accommodative support lenses. And there's something that should be duly considered, the habit by the optician to usually use the same product. When an optician opens list and likes a type of lens, the optician tends to propose that lens to all consumers, while we believe instead that it will be more and more important to have correct definition of the requirements of consumers. Essilor colleague said that the first progressive lens is 60 years old, and functional areas haven't become 18. It's just 3 functional areas, but all the visual needs of consumers have changed. Computers and the use of smartphones. So it will be fundamental to choose a lens design that is chosen for the requirements of the client and functions of use of the client. I have the burden at this point to briefly give you a summary. Companies do so much at an education level to technically inform their clients. I have perceived 3 important elements. First of all, we shouldn't lose the beginning of presbyopia, and it's a path. It's not just the use of a progressive lens, and accommodative power lenses are a result. And then another element. The era of glasses for everything is no longer here with us. And these are the important elements. And then I'd like to ask technicians to show the survey carried out in the past few days, asking opticians questions and asking them which factors determine the insufficient growth of this market, progressive personalized lenses. There are 4 elements. I've included 4 elements in the survey. First, a few elements had to do with the loss of collaboration by eye doctors and word of mouth, insufficient word of mouth, technical preparation of the optician, and last, if you see better than I see. What does it say? Yes, I have already mentioned word of mouth. Price war. As you can see, the price war and the negative opinion of the eye doctor are the most critical factors, while negative word of mouth and training of the optician are perceived to be less influential. And I do not believe that the problem is always outside. The problem also lies in us, in our abilities. And my idea is that companies present here, but also other companies at an ophthalmic level, they have technological capabilities that are extremely higher than in the past. They invest hundreds of millions of euros in this. And our category should ask some questions. If we have the ability to translate such technological capabilities into products that end up in the eyes of people so that people can see well. And I believe it's a typical problem. Just like when you buy a microwave oven or a video recorder of the past and you then just use 10% of the features given by that instrument with such reflection. If the professor has something else to say, we can close. free-form processing means working the inside, but all the other elements, detection of parameters, instrumentation to detect them, attention to assembly, and all of such elements that are translated into knowledge that the eye should have. Well, for sure, we should do our best, because it's the only way to stimulate companies to something more. Right. I'd like to thank the professors, Matilde Ronzoni, and all the panelists, and also you. Thank you so much.